Hey, good morning. This is Rich from Tennessee Homestead. How the heck are you today? Well, I'm over here at the Americana pen. We're beginning to introduce them to their what will soon be their new feed. Um, we've got one of my high-tech coffee can feeders set up in there, and we've started putting layer feed in that. Kind of get them accustomed to it. It's going to be kind of supplemental feed right now. Because over there they still got the regular feed. Had to put in another water over there because we haven't decided where we're going to move the buffs yet. Whether we're going to put them back into the main flock right away, or whether we put them over with the cuckoos. If we put them over with the cuckoo Marans, then I'm going to leave that big feeder and our big water over in the summer coop. Otherwise, there's only, oh heavens, 10, 11 birds over there, so I could cut that down to a 1 gallon water and bring that bigger one over here to keep these folks entertained. But anyway, I just right now hate locking down the main flock. To integrate a new bunch. Although, wife and I was talking, since we do have polywire around the outside, I mean, there's only one place left for them to go to roost. Would be back inside the coop, but I don't want to have to be out there shutting down a fence and chasing chickens back in, so I would really prefer to lock them down for at least a few days. And I really don't want to do that with the main flock right now, because they're doing pretty good. Anyway, so there's the Americanas and buffs, and they're doing real good, growing like little weeds. Still keep watching. I don't see a roux in the bunch, which really disturbs me. By now they should been sprouting their tail feathers and trying to crow, and the only thing crowing around here is these Americana roosters. Yeah. Not the best thing in the world, but it is what it is. So I'll be out looking for a Buff Orpington rooster to set these girls up with their own pure line of breeding. It's a shame to go out and get a top of the line Buff Orpington and then not a single roux in the bunch. Which I was talking with the fellow seeing that we'd got these from. To see if he had any roosters, and he told me, he said, "I can't believe you didn't get a rooster." I was like, "Yeah, well, I didn't." And he didn't have any on hand, so, yeah, it is what it is. So I'm going to put out on Craigslist, I think, that I'm looking for one, although, there you're going to run into, heaven only knows what you're going to find out there. To be really careful on what I do. With it, I had hopes that one right there that you're looking at was going to wind up being a roux, but man, it just hasn't seemed to take it all on yet. Could be a late bloomer, but yeah, no, I'm over here talking, and you're wondering what that's all about. Yeah. These Americanas are a trip. They're probably one of the friendliest birds we've got. You come into the pen and they want to sit on your shoes and press their heads up against your legs and all kinds of stuff. They're just a very friendly bird. They've kind of shocked me. Not flighty at all. Matter of fact, they're more friendly than the buffs, and the buffs, those are just lover birds right there. They just get all over you. So anyway, that's where we're at with that. I don't think I got a roux out of the buffs. Like I said, I got one that's a potential, but not much of one. So anyway, I stuck an extra water in here because I really want to keep these buffs close so I can keep checking. But yeah, it kind of looks like it isn't going to happen as far as a roux, which is not good. Anyway, so like I said, I set up a little feeder to start getting these girls used to layer formula, and I've still got the grower finisher over in that other feeder. and that's a 24% protein. This over here is 16% protein, so but they seem to like it, and that'll work for the time being. Although this little girl right here can't figure out which ends up on that container. Most of them have figured it out. She's seeming to have a bit of a problem with it. But like I said, put their waters in. As you can see, I've raised up the feeders and the waters a little bit to try to keep them from spilling it too bad. And I got the feeder away from the waters there because when they'd crowd around the feeder to eat, they seem to definitely move as a flock, and all of a sudden all of them around the feeder going after it, and their butts turn their water upside down, drain out what water's in there, and here you go. So, I'm trying to slow that down just a little bit. Got one water just hung a little bit higher because they seem to like to jump up on that board and drink out of it, so I figure, I'll just leave it high. They can reach it if they get thirsty. So, anyway, that's all for the chickens. Cows are doing great. They're all out in the back pasture right now, stuffing their faces. Still have not got the tractor fixed. We got a compressor that came in. It was supposed to be the compressor for the tractor, and lo and behold, wrong compressor. So we've got another one supposedly on the way. But yeah, I'm not going to be cutting hay. I'm going to be cutting weeds out there is what's going to end up happening. If it doesn't come in this week, I'm going to take and go out there and bush hog down to about a foot, leaving the grass, and hopefully killing off some of the weed tops so that it doesn't end up too stimmy, and the cows won't kind of stump their nose at it, and I got more hay laying around out here uneaten than eaten, which I've done in the past, and it seems to work. You get a lot of the stemmy stuff out of it, as the weeds seem to grow a lot taller and faster than the grass, so at least you thin it out a little bit. But anyway, that's pretty much it. We have been very, very busy down here. Playing with the garden and so forth. I don't know that I'm going to put down much more mulch bark because I had been told, and you know me, I got to try it myself before I'm convinced, but I had been told that the fire ants down here just love mulch in the garden, especially the bark, because it holds moisture. It's a nice place for them to build colonies and so forth. So I've already had to go in there and start putting out some ant treatment to try to get rid of them. But fire ants are fire ants, man. Those are tough son of a guns to get rid of. You don't really get rid of them. You just tick them off enough to move along, and then they move out of the colony, and a few weeks later somebody else moves in. So typical fire ants. And if you live in the South, you got fire ants. I mean, well, I imagine you even have them up north by now, because these little suckers just seem to spread everywhere. So yeah, that's one thing to be careful with on these back-to-eating gardens, unless you're in a region that isn't loaded with fire ants. Be careful with it, because you definitely don't want to be out there picking vegetables and step on a hive. They let you know that they're not happy with you when you do that. So kind of keep your eyeballs out on that. One of the drawbacks I see to these, using a lot of pine mulch is that the fire ants seem to really like it. Same thing with hay. They don't mind hay. I had a roll of hay I'd had sitting out here in the barn for quite a while, and I'd just pull some off and feed it to the calves. And I went pulling some off one day, and all of a sudden, both my arms just lit up, and it's like, what the heck? And fire ants had made a colony inside that roll of hay. So yeah, they'll get into about anything. Weather down here has not been too bad the past few days. It's been fairly, we're humid, but it's the temperatures have not been crazy. We have had some rain, which really helped. Not a lot, but we had one night early or toward the end of last week where it was a pretty steady rain all night long. Really helped the garden out, but I see it's starting to get a little dry out there, and we got clouds. So hopefully we'll get some more rain. If not, I'm going to probably have to put some water out there on it. The only thing I like about the cardboard end of it so far that has seemed to work out real well is the fact that it holds moisture very well. You know, it's you water that stuff down, and the plants go for a good long time before they start showing any signs of stress from needing water. And so yeah, you know, like I said, this is an experiment. We'll see how it goes. You know, I know I've got to scratch off the Back to Eden garden kind of thing, because that just doesn't seem to work well here. And I've been told that by other people. It's like you might as well plan to hoe, because that stuff doesn't work down here. And yeah, I'm a believer at this point. But you know, the thing of it is, folks, is when you got your, you know, you look at these things, and if they seem to work and you want to give them a try, give them a try. Do it on a small scale. Don't put all your eggs into one basket, but give it a whirl. You know, people have been wrong, and you know, your neighbor's saying don't do it. Maybe you know, it just didn't work for them. And all soil's different. Every farm's different. You got to try to keep that in mind when you're. Well, there's some fat and happy birds right there. They got done stuffing their little beaks, and now it's time to take a little siesta. But anyway, give it a whirl, you know, on these things. But like I said, if you're looking like with us, we're really in good shape on our food stocks as far as what we grow for vegetables and so forth. We still have peas and green beans and carrots and all kinds of stuff left from last year, probably enough to get through another year. So we're not, you know, hurting for what the garden puts out. So we're kind of at the stage of we're playing now to see, you know, and we can play, because, like I said, once you get your food stocks built up, then you can get in there and play a little bit. Yeah, and we're trying new things. Some of it I see works, and some of it I see doesn't work so great. The cardboard works great. The cardboard with hay seems to work okay. The mulch seems to draw the fire ants, the pine mulch. So I can pretty much tell you there's no way I'd get out here and mulch a whole garden, you know, 6-8 inches deep, or you know, I'd be up to my eyeballs in fire ants out here, and that's not good. So anyway, that's where we're at with all that. Goats still out there clearing the ditch, and gets one area ate down, we move it to the next, and by the time it gets all the ditch cleared, it's time to move it back to the beginning again. But yeah, we're thinking about putting a couple more out there, because I think it's more than one little goat can eat, although she's giving it one heck of a try. So that's where we're at. We didn't take any chickens to market. Again, don't plan to really. We're looking into some different crops, so we're going to take, I think, 1 or 2 of our pastures and put it into produce production, and just keep enough cattle on hand. We're not really going to run too many cow-calf situations. We're probably going to be more along the lines of just making sure we sustain our own meat, and maybe you know, have a few calves to sell to neighbors. Short of that, I don't think we're going to get real nuts with the size of the herd, because working cattle it's a lot of work. And if I can trim that down a bit, because like I say, as you get a little older, you start looking at your homestead and go, okay, I'm not always going to be physically able to do this, so do I need to make some shifts to where, you know, I'm doing more, you know, mechanical growing and things of this nature, to where I'm not out there doing a bunch of physical labor. So something for you older folks like myself. Now, when I say older folks, I'm talking about me. You know, to start thinking about is, you know, you don't want to have to be out there working as hard as you are in your 40s and 50s and 60s when you're in your 70s, 80s, and 90s. It's not a good scenario. So anyway, that's pretty much it from down here today. You know, it's been a pretty quiet week. we're getting ready to try to make some those Americanos, they like stirring stuff up, especially those roos. Anyway, we're trying to make a few changes down here to streamline things a little bit, and like I said, we're playing in the garden just to see how that all goes. We don't till much unless we're like taking out our early spring planting and getting ready for our summer planting, or vice versa when we're going back to our fall garden. That's about the only time we till, and we use a regular 3-point tiller and just kind of clean up the mess. We usually till under most of our other plants, so we have a lot of different volunteers pop up all over the place. But you know, it's something we do, and it works. And like I said, this year's going to be our little experiment. We're doing an experimental kind of situation all the way through it. And so far we've learned a couple of lessons, which when I get down at the end of it all, and this winter, I'll be able to tell you what worked for us down here and what didn't. So far I see the back to Eden, where you're using a lot of pine shavings, a lot of mulch, things of that nature. Like I said, it may work farther up north. Down here, it's nothing more than a fire ant magnet, and I don't want to turn my whole garden into a fire ant colony. So, you know, you kind of keep an eyeball on all that. So anyway, dogs are doing good, the cows are doing good, the goats are doing good, the chickens are doing good. Me and the wife's still alive and kicking, so that's always a good thing. Anytime you get up on the right side of the dirt, it's a good thing. So that's where we're at. This going up a little late, but it probably won't get put up till Tuesday because I've got all kinds of stuff I got to get finished up today. So anyway, you folks have a great day. I hope this finds you well. And like I said, when it comes to experimenting with your homestead, you need to. You have to know for yourself, because if somebody tells you something and it pans out not to be true, you're going to be kicking yourself for not going with it. Do it on a small scale. Try it yourself. See what works for you. That's like with the chickens. We found out this year that hatching chicks and raising chickens and so forth has turned into a pretty profitable little income stream. So we're expanding that out. Same thing with the garden. Some things worked, some things didn't. Cardboard with a little hay on top seems to work well. The pine mulch does not. So, you know, it's just kind of some of those things you do. Try it, you play, you experiment, you learn what works on your farm or your homestead, and then run with it. So anyway, you folks have a great day. This is Rich from Tennessee Homestead. Talk to you later.